Hello. I hope you've had a great Christmas and are all looking forward to ushering in the new year and saying good riddance to 2020. Now, today has been a momentous day, so I thought I'd give you a quick update on Brexit, on COVID, and on the situation in schools. So Parliament was recalled today. Most MPs stayed at home and followed the proceedings virtually, as I have, because we're advised that as few MPs as possible should go to Westminster. We can now participate in debates virtually. That's if you're lucky enough to come up in the ballot, which I'm afraid I didn't, but I certainly followed the whole of the Brexit debate today, because we had the debate on the EU future relationship bill, and it was passed by a whopping 521 votes, including mine, to 73, and not a single Conservative MP voted against it. Must be the most united we've been on Europe for many, many decades. The bill goes to the Lords now, and all things being equal, it'll be signed by the Queen, who's staying up late tonight, and will take effect in law tomorrow. Now, the last 4 years have been tough. They've been often acrimonious with all the Brexit debates going on, and it's time to put those arguments behind us, and it's time for all of us to rally around to make Brexit work in the new environment we will find ourselves from January the 1st. Now, the second big issue today has been COVID, and it's been a day of highs and lows. The high has, of course, been the fantastic news that the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine has been given official approval. It's going to be rolled out from next Monday, and the UK government has bought up 100 million doses of it, and many of those have been on the move today. That's great news, and it's a great British success story. So for those priority categories of people, you will be getting an invitation to go and have your vaccination soon. I would very much recommend you take up that invitation. I certainly will when it comes to my turn. I know there have been some complaints that there haven't been vaccinations available to the general public in Adur and Worthing, but they are being set up in centres on from Monday, so you'll be getting invitations soon. But of course, the bad news today has been the very high number of fatalities, 981 people who have tragically perished from COVID, and that's the highest figure since the first wave back in April. And more than 50,000 people have tested positive again. These next few weeks are going to be absolutely critical, and it's really important that whatever we think about the various lockdown measures, and as you know, I've had great reservations about the practicalities of it, we cannot be complacent. We all need to be vigilant. We all need to do our bit to abide by the regulations, to keep our distance. There have been a lot of complaints, again, I've had from people saying that some of the public areas are crowded. Please do use your common sense. Only go out if you have to go out. Keep as far away from people as possible, and make sure you wear your masks and wash your hands as required. And don't even think about inviting friends round or going to a party on New Year's Eve. There'll be plenty of other opportunities to celebrate properly later on in the spring. Now, there are further announcements today about a number of other areas were put into Tier 4, as Sussex was just before Christmas. 3/4 of the population of England is now covered by Tier 4 restrictions, and I fear that is going to go on for some time, whatever various of us might think. And we've seen the rates go up quite dramatically in Adur and Worthing, having been amongst the lowest rates in the whole country. Across the whole of the southeast, the rate of infection is now 476 per 100,000 population. That's the figure today. That compares with England of 402, although in London it's over 800. In the southeast, it's a figure of around 11% of those people who are getting tested are testing positive, and now more than 21,000 hospital beds are occupied by people with COVID, and that has been doubling every week for the last few weeks with the number of infections. Now, I spoke to the Chief Executive of Worthing Hospital today for an up-to-date briefing, and I put a full report on my Facebook page. But essentially, the number of people with COVID in Worthing Hospital has gone up considerably, as you would expect. It was only a few weeks ago, and the figure was down to 3. As of today, it was 46 COVID patients, of which 6 are in ITU. It's a similar figure, slightly higher, in St Richard's, and at the Sussex County Hospital in Brighton, it's around 80. But as you would expect from Worthing Hospital, and despite some of the misinformation going on social media, which is not helpful, they are coping really well. There is still spare capacity in ITU, but they are under pressure to take patients from Kent in particular. Unlike some hospitals who've reported some problems with oxygen, they have a good supply of oxygen, they have a good supply of ventilators, and they are coping well, and the vaccination of the staff is well on track as well. I just want to pay tribute again to Marion Griffiths and the entire team at the Western Sussex Hospitals Trust, who are doing such a magnificent job, as we know they always do. Now, finally, on schools, a lot of people have been writing to me in the last few days saying we need to keep our schools shut in January, and a lot of people have been writing me saying, for goodness sake, let's keep our schools open. My default position is, and the government agrees, that we need to keep our schools open as much as possible. The damage to children's education over the last 9 months through lockdown has been considerable. The impact that we're seeing on mental health is also very worrying, as the Children's Commissioner has issued various reports on as well. Now, what is happening is that primary schools will be going back in our area as scheduled on Monday the 4th. The secondary schools will be going back the following week, although those schools in certain Tier 4 areas, not ours, that return will be delayed for another week or so. One of the reasons for the delay is to make sure that the testing kits which are being delivered to school are there and available, that people are being trained with the help of army personnel being brought in as well to use them properly, that the PPE is available, and everything is being done to keep our children safe. And the evidence is that actually children are just as likely to catch COVID if they are outside of school as in school, where at least all these precautions have been taken. And I want to pay tribute to all our heads and our teachers who've made such a humongous effort over recent months to get our kids back into school. I'll put all these details on my website on the coronavirus section, as I've been doing. But it's an important day, but it's a day when we need to continue to be really careful and make sure we keep as safe as possible. So let me wish you all a very happy but socially distanced new year. And I'll see you again in 2021.